October 25th, 1960. Martin Luther King Jr. is hauled to Reidsville State Penitentiary, 200 miles from Atlanta, stripped, uniform, and locked alone in a cell. In 2 weeks, America picks a president. Whether King walks out alive will quietly decide who wins. I'm Erika Valencia. This is chapter 21 of Jonathan Eig's King Alive, optimistically titled Kennedy to the Rescue. Spoiler alert, the rescue is real, the motives are not. King had been arrested at a sit-in at Atlanta's richest department store. Georgia officials used an old traffic case to justify shipping him to a maximum security prison known for brutality. Outside, Nixon and Kennedy sprint to November, both playing the same quiet game: win Black voters in the North without losing white voters in the South. King had met Kennedy twice and was underwhelmed. Nixon, bizarre as it sounds now, had the warmer relationship. Even Daddy King was leaning more towards Nixon. Then Kennedy did the one thing Nixon wouldn't. An advisor for Kennedy found King scared for his pregnant wife, Coretta. JFK called her directly. 90 seconds, personal concern, and an offer to help. Daddy King flipped to Kennedy on the spot and said so publicly. Robert Kennedy worked the back channel to the judge. Governor Vandiver, who'd publicly declared King not welcome in Georgia, quietly leaned on the system to ease him out. 8 days in, King walked out on a $2,000 bond. The same establishment that put him in there pulled him back because a presidential campaign asked nicely. The campaign moved fast. 50,000 pamphlets on cheap blue paper. The Blue Bomb walked into Black churches the Sunday before Election Day. Message: Kennedy acted, Nixon stayed quiet. Kennedy won, barely. Black voters made the margin, much of it traceable to that one 90-second phone call. Egg refuses the victory lap, though. He cuts to early 1961. James Farmer, of course, sends interracial riders into the Deep South to test the Supreme Court ruling banning segregation on interstate travel. The response is fast and it's violent. Outside Anniston, a mob torches a Greyhound. In Birmingham, men with pipes wait at the station. Federal aide John Siegenthaler is beaten unconscious and lies in the streets for 25 minutes before anyone helps. King flies to Montgomery. 1,000 people pack Ralph Abernathy's church. Outside, an armed mob flips a car and torches it. Robert Kennedy sends marshals. Inside, King speaks steady as smoke seeps through the walls. Exactly the King the country wants to remember. Then, the part it prefers to forget. The writers ask him to come to Jackson. He says no, citing probation that could send him back to prison. The pushback is fast. Lois, Baker, Williams. One telegram cuts. No sincere leader asks his followers to make sacrifices that he himself will not endure. Baldwin closes the chapter. King had reached into hearts like no Black leader before him, but the gap between him and the next generation is showing. This chapter is a turning point in King's relationship with power. The phone call proves something stunning. King's movement is now large enough that a presidential election can pivot on how a candidate responds to his jail cell. He didn't stage that leverage. He inherited it from the weight of everything he had already built. The Freedom Rides exposes a harder truth. King is no longer the only engine of the movement. Court and SNCC, student-led, are taking the most dangerous steps. When he refuses to get on that bus, the question gets asked out loud: is he still willing to lead from the front? So King is at his peak and under challenge all within the same week. Egg's larger point is that King functions like a founding father. He forces the country to confront the promises it claims to live by. When Kennedy called Coretta, he did something no major candidate had done. He treated the arrest of a Black civil rights leader as a national moral issue. The Blue Bomb, Daddy King's switch, and Kennedy's razor thin win all underline the same fact. You could no longer run for president and ignore Black lives. This isn't just politics. That's a rewrite of what the country has to answer for. But Egg also insists on King's humanity. He urges bravery, then hesitates when risk gets personal. That tension doesn't shrink him, it makes him real. And the movement continuing without him in that moment proves how much it had grown. The Kennedy story is usually told with triumph. Egg shows the gears, campaign math, quiet favors, a governor helping a free man he publicly rejected. Kennedy helped King because it helped Kennedy, bottom line. And King understood that. Moral clarity mattered, and so who could reach a judge by phone. The freedom rights decision is the most revealing moment in the chapter. Not cowardice, but calculation. A man measuring what he could afford to lose. Egg doesn't preach, he shows. What we're left with is a king who's consequential and conflicted, a man whose imprisonment nudges a presidential election, a man whose steadies a church while a mob closes in, a man who refuses a seat on a bus headed into danger. All three are true, and holding them together is how we take King seriously as a human being and as a founding father.